So what's your argument? Is it because there's so many so-called manuscripts that you call manuscripts? What does that mean? You haven't explained anything. All you did was read some book that said that there's thousands of New Testament transcripts and manuscripts by many different languages, and there's other. I don't get what your argument is. Okay? Are you trying to prove Jesus Christ existed? If that's the case, why don't you just tell him to come all over here and say, I exist? He's a god, right? I mean, why all this, play acting and why all the so-called parables and stories and wannabe prophecies? You called things prophecies. What did he do that they prophesied? You didn't mention one. And I've read the Bible, but it's, of course, the King James Version because I don't get any other. I don't care about any other. It doesn't make any difference to me. They're all versions written by man. And all those manuscripts that you're talking about, why is it that the only manuscripts that talk about the New Testament in the Bible at all are these so-called Dead Sea Scrolls? And they really aren't even books of any of these people that lived supposedly hundreds of years after this Jesus dude. I don't get it. What's your argument? These comments are restricted or closed from this. Written comments are closed. Is this video going to show up? Will you be able to answer these questions for me? Is it that you're so enslaved by this magician, this magic thing, that you're so ignorant about science, real science, that you take the word of some guy who writes a book and talks about thousands of manuscripts of the New Testament? What you said, by the way, was untrue. The only manuscript the only historical manuscript that mentions a Jesus is from a guy named Josephus the Liar. Yeah, I wonder why they call him that. And until then, there's no discussion of a Christ until Constantine, when his mother goes to the Holy Land and supposedly brings back a piece of the crucifixion cross and tells her son that he has to take up Christianity or he won't win the war or whatever. So he won the war because he was a freaking empire. I mean, he had hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Of course, he beat everybody up. They named the town Constantinople. Then he started gathering all the gold and everything. And that was the Catholic Church. That was the beginning of the Catholics. Aren't they a fun group of people? And they are the ones who supposedly gathered all these manuscripts you're talking about. So are you a Protestant Catholic, Christian, a Catholic, a Jew, a Muslim? What are you? What are you? You talk about Jesus. You keep saying Jesus is your Lord. If you want to be a slave, well, that's your opinion. You can do that. But that doesn't, mean that you have to come on the video and lie about stuff. Just because you want to prove that your delusion is real. I mean, you sound intelligent. I just don't get how intelligent people fall for this stuff. These cults. What do you mean Christianity's not a cult? What else is it? It's worship of a supernatural being. That's what a cult is. What's wrong with you people? You think just because your Christianity is accepted by our government that it's not a cult? But Scientology is a cult. It's not a religion. It's a cult. Right? Mormonism is a cult or a religion. See? I mean, who's right? Which God? Which Bible? Which manuscript? What the fuck? I don't understand why you're trying to convince people of this manuscript thing. It has no bearing on reality. That's just it. And we have archaeologists that look at things now. You don't need manuscripts as much as, because manuscripts are written by human beings with their perception, all the superstition and everything else laid into it. Do you get that? So when the Hebrews wrote about, the Bible writes about the Hebrews getting kicked out of Egypt and the parting of the Red Sea and all that, archaeologically, we know what happened. They were mercenaries. For one thing, slaves are not armed, ever. You never arm slaves. And it says right in the Bible, the Hebrews left armed and took all the gold and silver with them from all the towns. That's what mercenaries do when they're kicked out of their host country, when they were living there in the land of Goshen. See, the Sea of Reeds, not the Red Sea, the Sea of Reeds. Boy, anyway, those are real manuscripts. Okay, that's history. It's put on buildings for you to see thousands of years later. It's not retranslated thousands of times over. Do you get that? Okay, that's all I wanted to say.